Section 2:1 Introduction to Beta, Calculating Beta, 2.1 Calculation Methods. Calculating beta involves determining the sensitivity of an asset's returns to the returns of a market index. There are different approaches to calculating beta, with regression analysis being one commonly used method. Let's explore different approaches to calculating beta, including regression analysis. Regression analysis. This is the most widely used method for calculating beta. Regression analysis involves running a linear regression model with the historical returns of the asset as the dependent variable and the historical returns of the market index as the independent variable. The slope of the regression line represents the beta coefficient. The ordinary least squares, OLS, method is typically used to estimate the beta. Covariance method. Beta can also be calculated using the covariance between the asset's returns and the market returns, divided by the variance of the market returns. The formula for beta using the covariance method is as follows: beta equals COV, asset returns, market returns, /var, market returns. This approach measures the sensitivity of the asset's returns to the overall market movement. Historical method. In the historical method, beta is calculated by comparing the historical returns of the asset to the historical returns of the market index. The beta coefficient is derived by taking the covariance between the asset returns and the market returns and dividing it by the variance of the market returns. Slope of the security characteristic line, SCL. The security characteristic line is a graphical representation of the relationship between the asset's returns and the market returns. The slope of the SCL represents the beta coefficient. By plotting the asset's returns against the market returns and fitting a line to the data points, the beta can be determined from the slope of the line. It's important to note that calculating beta based on historical data has limitations. Beta is a measure of historical sensitivity and may not fully reflect future market dynamics. Additionally, the choice of the market index used for comparison can affect the calculated beta. Different market indices may yield different beta values. Moreover, beta assumes a linear relationship between the asset and market returns, which may not always hold true. When calculating beta, it's generally recommended to use a sufficient number of data points to ensure statistical reliability. Additionally, the time period chosen for the analysis should be relevant and representative of the asset's exposure to market movements. Overall, regression analysis is a commonly used and reliable method for calculating beta, but other approaches such as the covariance method or analyzing the security characteristic line can also provide valuable insights into an asset's sensitivity to market movements. The interpretation of beta values depends on whether they are positive, negative, or zero. Here's a general understanding of how beta values are interpreted. Beta greater than 1. A beta greater than 1 indicates that the asset is more volatile or has higher systematic risk compared to the market. If the market moves up by 1%, an asset with a beta of 1.5 would be expected to increase by approximately 1.5%. Similarly, if the market declines by 1%, the asset's returns would be expected to decline by approximately 1.5%. A beta greater than 1 suggests that the asset's price tends to fluctuate more than the overall market. Beta equal to 1. A beta of 1 suggests that the asset has the same level of systematic risk as the market. If the market goes up by a certain percentage, an asset with a beta of 1 would be expected to increase by a similar percentage. Likewise, if the market declines, the asset's returns would be expected to decline proportionally. A beta of 1 means that the asset moves in line with the market. Beta less than 1. A beta less than 1 suggests that the asset is less volatile or has lower systematic risk than the market. For example, if the market goes up by 1%, an asset with a beta of 0.8 would be expected to increase by approximately 0.8%. Conversely, if the market declines by 1%, the asset's returns would be expected to decline by approximately 0.8%. A beta less than 1 indicates that the asset's price tends to fluctuate less than the overall market. Negative beta. A negative beta indicates an inverse relationship between the asset's returns and the market returns. When the market goes up, an asset with a negative beta tends to have returns that decrease, and vice versa. Negative betas are relatively rare and often associated with assets that are considered defensive or counter-cyclical, such as certain hedge strategies or investments like gold. It suggests that the asset's returns move in the opposite direction to the market. It's important to note that beta is based on historical data and may not fully capture the future risk of an asset. Other factors, such as company-specific information and market conditions, can also impact an asset's returns. Therefore, beta should be interpreted alongside other relevant information and used as one tool among many for assessing an asset's risk profile.